the best comedy shows on Netflix right now. In the mood for a laugh? From classics to quirky series, below you'll find a list of shows that might make for great discoveries or even comfort TV to watch again and again. Hey guys, welcome to your entertainment channel Netflix Top, where we tell you about the top rated movies and series on Netflix. So grab your popcorn and stay with us until the end of the video, because today's video is going to list down the top 10 best comedy shows on Netflix. So let's get started. Number 10. The Way of the House Husband. Most people who aren't all that familiar with anime tend to think it's all about action, drama, and magical girls. However, there are a whole lot of great slice-of-life comedy anime out there, quite a few of which are available on Netflix. The Way of the House Husband is easily one of the best. This series is a light, relaxing watch, with humor that touches on the more commonplace and mundane things in life, rather than high-stakes conflicts. The series is centered on Tatsu, a former Yakuza who now lives as a dedicated house husband married to a hard-working young woman named Miku. A lot of the comedy comes from the fact that Tatsu approaches household chores with the same mindset that made him the most feared Yakuza in the city. This is the perfect show for when you just want to sit back and relax, and it's also chock full of useful hacks you would try out around the house. Oh, and there's also a cute and mischievous cat involved. Number 9. A Series of Unfortunate Events. A Series of Unfortunate Events is a show for those who prefer their comedies dry and black. The series isn't so funny as it is witty, with the cartoonishly evil Count Olaf being a particular standout. The show is based on the novel series of the same name by Lemony Snicket, following the misadventures of the tragically orphaned Baudelaire children. As the title suggests, the story puts the children through a number of terrible scenarios as they are hounded for their fortune by the evil Count Olaf and his cronies. Through it all, the children look to the adults in their life for help, only to be dismissed and condescended to. With great performances, a tightly written story, and the perfect mix of tragedy and comedy, this is a series that's a wild ride from start to finish. Number 8. Man vs. Bee. Rowan Atkinson is easily one of the world's most recognizable comedians, and Mr. Bean is a big reason why. Of course, it has been some years since Atkinson last played Bean in live action, but fans of the actor have reason to rejoice now. Man vs. Bee captures all the great physical comedy of the Bean franchise and throws in some emotional depth for good measure. Atkinson stars as Trevor Bingley, a divorced house sitter and father who is assigned to take care of a rich couple's house for a week. Unfortunately, a bee gets into the home and proceeds to set Trevor off on a madcap journey filled with crazy antics. Number 7. Grace and Frankie. Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin have been icons of the industry since the 60s. Put those two together and you get one of the best Netflix shows ever. Grace and Frankie reunited the 9-to-5 stars as a classic odd couple who are forced to live with each other after their husbands reveal that they're divorcing them and they're getting married. Fonda's Grace Hansen is a tightly wound, no-nonsense businesswoman with a bit of a drinking problem, and Tomlin's Frankie Bergenstein is the direct opposite, a lovable, pot-smoking bohemian free spirit. The series explores the evolution of the relationship, from barely tolerating each other to not being able to imagine a life apart. The show is hilarious and equally emotional, dealing with serious themes like mortality, illness, and finding purpose. No wonder it's Netflix's longest show ever. Number 6. DERRY Girls. DERRY Girls is a delightful comedy about 5 friends who are finishing up Catholic high school in Derry, North Ireland, during the end of the Troubles in the mid-1990s. This intoxicating array of characters finds themselves in insane, hilarious situations, even with turmoil in the background. Their families, who are more aware of the tense situations than they are, and their teacher at school, who is absolutely sick of their shenanigans, round out the cast. It is a fascinating glimpse on life during this period and shows that no matter what is going on around them, teenagers are still dealing with teenage problems. Number 5. Kim's Convenience. Set in Toronto, the Korean-Canadian Kim family runs a little convenience store on a neighborhood block. Paul, Sun-Hyung Lee, and Jin Yoon play Appa and Uma, the owners of the shop. They keep it stocked for the random passerby and for the local regulars. Helping them run the store is their daughter, Janet, while their son, Jung, is estranged from the family after a lifetime of disappointments. Kim's Convenience might have ended with more of a whimper than a bang. But for most of its run, it was beloved for being a comedic and entertaining portrayal of an Asian family. While some of the cast has gone on to appear in larger properties, notably Liu as Marvel's Shang-Chi and Lee appearing in The Mandalorian, Kim's Convenience is likely where they first won our hearts. Number 4. The Kominsky Method. Most people who have watched Chuck Lorre's extensive list of hit shows tend to expect a certain kind of story from the producer. However, the Kominsky method breaks all those expectations into tiny pieces and then proceeds to stomp on them. It's a genuinely beautiful show with the perfect balance of tragic circumstances and biting humor. Sandy Kominsky, played by the iconic Michael Douglas, is an aging actor who once had a very promising career that never came to fruition. But as they say, those who can't do, teach, and Sandy is the best acting coach in the business. The show follows his various misadventures as he deals with life, love, death, and his prostate. The best part of the series is the chemistry between Sandy and his best friend/agent Norman Newlander, Alan Arkin. But the other main characters are also quite endearing. 3 seasons of the Kominsky method have been released on Netflix, starting in 2018 and ending in 2021. Number 3. The Good Place. The NBC series hails from Parks and Rec's creator Michael Schur, but combines his sense of humor with a highly serialized premise that will have you incredibly engaged in where the story's going. The show takes place in an afterlife where Eleanor Shellstrop, Belle, a recently deceased woman who lived a selfish, spiteful life, has ended up in the good place by mistake. With the help of her appointed soulmate, Chidi, Harper, she tries to learn how to be a better person as we get flashbacks to Eleanor's life and the lives of those around her. Meanwhile, the architect of the good place, Michael Danson, tries to figure out why everything in this utopia is going haywire. Tons of surprises ensue, on top of some fantastic comedy and shockingly, really thought-provoking philosophical storytelling about the nature of mortality and what it means to be good. And importantly, it builds to a really satisfying series finale. Number 2. Arrested Development. Surely one of the best sitcoms ever made, Arrested Development was far ahead of its time when it debuted in 2003. Its wit and wry sense of humor now feels in lockstep with modern state of the genre, but at the time, it was incredibly different, which led to an early cancellation. But Netflix revived the series in 2013 to mixed results, with credit going to Hurwitz for at least trying something different than before. Regardless of how you feel about Season 4 and 5, the show's previous episodes are undoubtedly some of the silliest, smartest, and funniest TV comedies ever produced. Number 1. Russian Dolls. If you like your comedy on the darker side, with a sci-fi twist, check out Russian Doll. This propulsive series from Natasha Lyonne, Amy Poehler, and Leslie Headland is a brilliant tale of morality and mortality that finds an expert balance between sincerity, cutting-edge comedy, and wild genre flourish. In the first episode, we meet Nadia Lyonne, an Eckerbeck chain-smoking software designer in Rockstar Dudes, gets trapped in a time loop that film fans will quickly recognize, a Groundhog Day rinse-repeat format, where the protagonist is forced to learn a life lesson to break the loop. If you think the time loop concept is overfamiliar, Russian Doll is way ahead of you. It's a show that recognizes that it owes to Groundhog Day and tips its hat all along the way. It's also chock full of twists and turns that subvert expectations at every corner, until it all comes crashing down in the emotionally cathartic finale. And this brings us to the end of the video. What are your thoughts on today's video? Share with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for amazing movie reviews coming your way. And thank you for watching.